So I'm gonna start out shooting natural for a minute and just see what I like. Thanks. And so another thing, the first thing I start out with is I'm always shooting RAW. I never obviously shoot JPEG. Obviously I always want my ISO to be as low as possible. And for outside, if I'm shooting natural with no strobes, I always like my white balance to be on shade because it just gives the skin tones nice warm vibe, especially on girls. It makes them look really beautiful. So shade, even if it's sunny, not shady. I mean, if I'm outdoors, my white balance is on shade. Done.
Wow, great.
And so,
Shooting in manual mode?
yes, I'll always shoot manual mode. The shutter speed, you know, I've got pretty shaky hands, so I try to stay at 1/25th or faster unless I want to go slower than that for various reasons. But 1/25th is usually my safe point, and then my aperture, you know, I move around from there. So, funny story that you might enjoy in your readers as well. So, you know, I've been a photographer for just about 6 years now, full-time 5 years. And first 2 years, I had learned how to just know the exposures because I didn't use a meter much. And so I just would have to walk outside and, you know, after trial and error, figure out what ISO it would be, what settings. And so my assistant and I, we went to Dominican Republic and we were sitting there talking. And I was like, man, I don't know how these other photographers always get the perfect exposure because I'm always guessing and I'm always just trying to figure it out as I go. But it seems like other people are always getting it nailed every time. And he goes, well, dude, you're using your in-camera meter, right? I was like, there's an in-camera meter? That is what an idiot I can be sometimes. So it was.
You'd be surprised how many people don't know that.
Yeah.
That little meter that moves to the left and to the right.
I mean,
is your
that
existing thing.
that
It's
changed.
reading the light.
Yeah, that changed my life, and that was like I was on a professional shoot in the Dominican Republic, and here my assistant is. You know, there's an in-camera meter. It's like, cool, bro. Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
sure, I've been using it all along.
Right. So yeah, this is already. Yeah, it's great. I think this is going to look really nice with the background completely blown out. I'm at f2 2.0, and it's no, I'm at a 800th, and turn your body towards that way, and yeah, look at me. ISO is 50 actually right now. Very nice. Give me, put your hand up in the frame, just maybe grabbing your ear, just some fidgeting. Yeah. And so, that was the last one was nice looking off camera. The beginning of the shoots is always the same for me. I'm always like waking up, the model's waking up. Thankfully, she's really good and confident, but a lot of times, like the first few shots are really awkward. I'm like, man, I don't know what to do with this thing. Like, and it just feels really weird. And then after like the first hour, we're just moving. But already these look nice. But I sense that like initial awkward, like, okay, gotta find my composition. I gotta get in my rhythm. And then
warm up.
And then once I'm there, you know, I'm there the rest of the day. It's kind of nice. But there's always that initial kind of figuring it out, you know.
Now I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You're shooting at f2, so
Right.
If your focus isn't dead on, something's going to be out of focus. Where's
Exactly.
your focus point? Where you're actually putting the little focus point on?
I am putting it right on her eyes. These look beautiful, really nice. You know, I always just want it, and you're right. I mean, I do move a lot. I shoot fast, and so I'm always moving. But I know that when I'm at 2, I do at least try to, you know, on my end, try to stop. And she's moving a little bit, but I'm at 800, so at least that'll stop her once I get her. But as long as either one of us aren't moving this way, we're gonna be fine. And so, but yeah, I'm pretty hardcore with the whole, you know, spot focusing system because I don't have great vision to see if things are in focus. So I really trust the camera's ability to use those dots to lock in the focus right on the eyes.
Yeah, okay, great.
So, I'm also I pretty much constantly change composition too. Shoot a lot of vertical, a lot of wide. When I shoot for the record labels, they really, a lot of times just want as much variety as possible. Give us 3/4, give us, you know, stomach up, give us headshots, give us wide, give us vertical. So I've really gotten used to this habit of completely changing my composition all the time.
Ooh, I got a question along those lines.
Yeah.
So they're asking you for tight, 3/4, full length stuff. Do you see a pattern that your clients choose? Like, okay, so you have to generally shoot for everything for everybody. But if you notice that the clients normally take the tight end shot, they normally take the wide shot. Is there a particular pattern that you've seen in your own work as how clients choose?
Well, with the labels, I mean, even if it's a more artistic band or someone like a rock band or more indie, they still want the stuff that just makes their artist look great. And so if it's an artist who has thicker legs, they're going to choose the
Okay,
chest
so
out stuff.
they're doing it on a case-by-case
Yeah,
basis.
they still want their artist to look amazing, even if it's not that kind of music, you know. So whatever that shot is, if the lighting's amazing on the face, they want that close-up face shot, and they're also looking at things from a creative packaging standpoint and then a press and publicity standpoint. So I'm always thinking that too when I'm shooting. I'm thinking, okay, what's going to be more interesting for the album cover? Like for that shot, like here, I might get her hair over her face, and it's just a real vibey shot. But then I know for their marketing and their publicity stuff, I'm just going to want some nice shots of her smiling, looking in the camera that, you know, they can use for all the other, you know, magazines and stuff to download. So.
Hey, I got one more question before you get back to shooting, because this came right off our live questions from Twitter. One of the questions they wanted to know is, when you're picking a location, scouting a location, do you choose the location as the photographer? Does the client choose the location? Do you collaborate on it? How do you come up with your locations for shoots?
Locations by far are the hardest part of any shoot. I mean, it's like, okay, sometimes we've got a concept, sometimes we don't, but either way, it's like, where are we going to shoot this? And so it's hard. And so I have an ongoing database that I built for myself from Nashville of just locations. And so I have libraries that I can shoot to clients and say, well, we could kind of do this vibe. And to answer your question, it's kind of me that is in charge of that. Every once in a while, the client will say, okay, we have this concept. We definitely want to shoot at the Walking Bridge downtown, or definitely want to shoot here. But most of the time, it's, Jeremy, where do you want to shoot this? And I don't like shooting locations more than probably twice, because I get bored and I always want to be creating new art.
Right.
And so it's hard. I mean, it's really hard. And sometimes I'll have an intern spend a day just going out and scouting, firing back, you know, location photos. But yeah, it's usually me. And sometimes we just pick an area like this and we just run and gun, kind of like we are today, which is honestly how I love doing it. It seems like some of my favorite shoots are when days there's no plan in place. We just do what we're doing. So.
And there's definitely no plan in place today.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let me get back to your shoot, but the questions keep coming in on Twitter, so I'll be asking you these as we go. But let me let you get back to your shoot.
Yeah, absolutely.